Hey, good morning. It is Jane from Chalk Mercantile and Surface Anthology. I hope you guys are having a happy Monday morning. Today I'm going to show you how to make over one of these cute little jewelry boxes, but with the paint inlay. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to let my text group people know that I'm on here. So if they'd like to join us, if you want to join, just say hello and or text hello. It's Monday, 860-385-6369. And you can be on my little text list here and know when I'm going live. All right, let's get that going, close my computer. So I love, and I used to have a workshop years ago, which I want to do again. I love making over these little wooden jewelry boxes that you find at like Goodwill, thrift stores, tag sales. Hey, Barb. Hi there. Barb, I know. I have it behind me because I'm waiting for the magnets. There they are. Barb is mentioning those little layered IOD pieces I did last week, and I'm going to put magnets on the back and make them into my refrigerator magnets because I'm getting fancy. Yay, Barb got her notification. Thanks, Barb. I'm so glad you could join me today. I bet it's early out there. I have to tell you, it's 10:47. Hey, Danielle, welcome. It's 10:47 here in Connecticut. And honestly, it takes me like a half an hour just to get ready, right? I got to get the dogs downstairs, bring them out, get them settled downstairs, get everything I need. And I still don't have everything I need, but I'm going to show you how to use stuff that you just have around because I've got a couple of tools that I'm just not going to go down and get because the dogs are going to start barking. So, all right. So these things, you could get these for $2, $3. They're solid wood. This little one is so cute. I've already cleaned it, except I'm going to show you how I clean the inside. But look, somebody used it to rest their cigarette. Oh, that's gross. Barb's been finding them and stashing them. Absolutely. To me, now this is me, if somebody, found one of these jewelry boxes, I love jewelry, even though I don't switch out my jewelry a lot, I collect it. I have my mom's jewelry, and then made it over as a gift. How special would that be, Barb, right? Barb, it's 7:48 in Oregon. You're an early bird, right? I get up really early. Well, good morning. Good morning, Shannon. Shannon brings her little flowers in the sunshine, and that's how it is today. I'm also trying to beat the sun that's moving around. It's going to be kind of up in this window soon, so that's usually blinding, which I don't mind, but it's not good for doing lives. All right. Before I do this, I want to show you this jewelry box I did years ago, because someone asked about this. This one has glass, right? So this has glass in the little doors. Really cute. Look at how cute. The little drawers in there. Hey, Sandy. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. And I can't get it all in the picture, but you see these little windows. I used that mercury glass spray, and I'm looking at it. I think there's one by Rust-Oleum, and then there's another brand. Hey, Joni. Joni. Guys, I know you know Joni from Weathered Wings. Joni has a way of making me laugh early in the morning. And I have to tell you, we're all in the Painted Cottage, which I hope you're all part of. And Joni, we have a call once a week where we kind of talk about ideas and support each other, make each other laugh. But Joni was calling, we have like a video call and through Facebook this morning, and I immediately thought, was yesterday a holiday and today's Tuesday because that's the day we have it? And I'm like, and I was listening to one of my real true crime murder podcasts, because then I looked and I'm like, no, it's Monday. And I'm like, is Joni trying to get help? What is going on? So I message her. And she's calling. Oh my God. We have this inside joke about, we saw a group of women called the Thrifting Gals, and Joni texted me once about that and said the Thrusting Gals. And I'm like, Joni, what are you talking about? So, and she, it was the spell check, but she kills me in the morning. She just absolutely, Joni, you're too funny in the morning. You got to do stand up, but you'd be not in a nightclub. You'd be in like a coffee shop. So if you don't follow Joni at Weathered Wings, you have to. Not only is she super talented, she's really funny. Oh, and Barb loves the Painted Cottage. Thank you, Barb. Absolutely. I love the people that we meet in there and the other creatives that, along with me, are kind of running the show, I guess. I know, Shannon. Honestly, isn't that too funny? She's hilarious. Joni, you're too much. So getting back to the jewelry box, this glass has this little, I'll open it and show you, like this fake, there you go, this fake stained glass weird thing. And I love that it's kind of cut, right? It's not kind of cut, it is cut. This I didn't like at all. In fact, I hate it. If it's not authentic, it's, please, even, whatever. I'm like, if I can make this look a little bit better, I'm going to do that. And I got to get rid of it. So what I did is I used that spray on the inside, right? This is actually would have been the outside. Here's the inside. And you could feel the little bump. And this is where I sprayed it. Normally you would turn that over and then put it in. I just use that as my front. And I think it looks really pretty. I still get dimension from that weird little line, but it just looks pretty because it's silver now. And the rest of it is all gray paint and silver leaf. I silver leafed everything on this. So this is a way, if you don't like the weird little things going on in the glass, use that mercury or Rust-Oleum spray. It's like mirror effects, I think it's called, but I love that. Just make sure you have a window open. Okay, now for this one, you gotta remove the hardware if you can. You don't have to, but it's good practice to do it. And another pro tip, I like to call it, if you're gonna paint a big piece of furniture and are trying a new technique or a new color combo, start with a little jewelry box, because it's like a little miniature piece of furniture. And you can try out your technique, try out your products, and tweak it on this instead of learning, or trying it out on a big piece of furniture where if you make a mistake, you have to redo the whole thing. That costs money and time and product for sure. So this is where to try out new techniques. To clean, right? See, this has like this kind of velvety inside. I just take painter's tape like this, and I just use it like a lint roller. And I go in and I just move that around, and it lifts away all the lint and all that stuff. And it works really well. All right, and then I just wipe down the rest of it. I mean, it wasn't really gross, but I just used a little bit of I have some really weak TSP cleaner solution that I used on another piece, and I just wiped it down. So the color I'm using is A Good Man Is Hard to Find. I love that. This is Amy Howard at Home One Step Paint. Give it a shake. So this is a chalk paint that does have a built-in top coat. Having said that, when you're using this kind of paint or really any other kind of paint, you're still putting in on a a paint inlay. And this paint does need to be sealed. So no matter what kind of paint you use for your paint inlays, they do need to be sealed. And I've used waxes. I did a bunch of tutorials. I've used matte sealer, the Amy Howard at Home matte sealer. I've used the mud paint matte sealer, and it all works really well. To take off this hardware, and it's got little tiny nails, I just put in, this is a putty knife or one of these tools, and I just kind of rock it until I lift this up. And of course, you know, if I ruin this, which I could still do, it was only a couple of dollars. There we go. Make sure you you hold on to these little itty bitty nails, okay? And look, there's the hardware. You could even try out different finishes on your hardware this way. So this I'm just gonna put in a little bowl, wipe that off, and I'm gonna remove this one. Same thing, woo! And it flew. I didn't lose my little nails. There it is. And it all goes in there. Okay. And let's paint. Now I have I think I'll do the bigger areas first. I've got my 1-inch, my favorite paintbrush I seem to use over and over. I always wet my paintbrush first, like this, so I try to make them last as long as possible. And the water keeps that paint from going up into the ferrule. And you just paint. I'm using the Grisal transfer today. And most of the time, it looks like the tutorials I've done, I've used red paint with that Grisal. So I thought I would do something a little bit different. And this is a really beautiful, deep gray. Now Danielle is saying, I like it when you show us thrift finds and how to make them over. Keeping things out of the landfill, absolutely. And making them pretty and usable, again, is a favorite thing. Absolutely. You know, I was talking to my son, Christopher, who we went to Goodwill together. And that's, if you guys follow me, you saw that little mid-century chair that we found and my grandson sitting in it. He loves mid-century. And he had read something about IKEA and what's going on with third-party people finding wood. And I said, you know, Chris, this has been going on a long time, right? And however you feel about IKEA or any of these other companies, and I own some IKEA, you have to be realistic about it and where they're getting their wood. And also, it's just not made as well as the vintage stuff. It just isn't. You can definitely get beautifully made furniture now. It's gonna cost you, let me tell you, right? It's gonna cost you a lot more than going to even an antique store. It's incredible, right, Danielle? I had a shop, a brick and mortar shop, and I would get some really good antique pieces in, and they were a fraction of the cost of even IKEA furniture now, right? So it was pretty, pretty irresistible, at least in Connecticut. You know, you can go out and spend thousands and thousands at a furniture store on something that's you know, kind of inferior, or you can go thrifting, antiquing, and get some really good stuff and just make it over to make it your own. Okay. This little piece, let me tell you, I should have used my tiny art brush. Now I'm going to dry. Now, Joni, have you, when you've done your paint, now Joni is also, of Weathered Wings, is also an Iron Orchid stockist. And she does some really wonderful tutorials, everybody. Joni, when you do a paint inlay tutorial, do you do it right during your tutorial, or do you let the paint inlay dry and then finish it in another tutorial? Because I'm gonna try to dry it today and we'll see what it looks like, but normally I let my paint inlays dry at least an hour. So Joni, if you're still here, let me know. Hey Emma. Oh, thank you. Good morning. All right, now let's get this little draw. And this time I am going to use my art brush. And these brushes just make quick work of little pieces like this. And they do a nice job of laying down the paint. And I'm not being super neat here, but say you were doing this as a gift, I would tape it out. I would tape right here and right here to get a nice sharp edge. You try to have one that has dried. So Joni has one, you know, the magic of, it's like they used to say the magic of TV. You have one that's already dried. Oh, Joni. Well, we'll see. I'll try drying it and we'll see what happens, right? Okay, let me dry this. A minute. I have to tell you, I've bought a lot of my upholstered furniture it's antiques actually from my mother, and I've had them reupholstered, and I've done really well with that too. Joni. Oh, Emma, it's 10:13 in the morning. Good morning in Texas, San Antonio. All right. And then Joni says, but that only works if I don't lay it upside down. Joni, I'm going to show you guys that now. I did something really, I call it a paint inlay 101. I did something where I planned my entire design with the paint inlay up, the image up. You need to even design your paint inlay with the image down. Well, I didn't do that, and it's on the grandfather clock, and I saved it. I had to fix it, but it's like, you know, we used to say, I took woodworking class in high school, measure twice and cut once. I did not check myself. Oh. All right, so in the real world, if I was doing this again, and I will do it off camera, I would do an entire second coat on everything, right? The bottoms, the draw fronts, let it dry, and then do my second coat on top where I'm going to put the inlay in. So imagine I did that, okay? Now, I have a ton of scraps of the Grisal inlay, like a ton. So I just was playing around with, and I found a good one. Let's see if I can find it again. You just kind of move, see, now this is where I'm going to show you where I messed up. Your first instinct is to put the picture, right, the image up, right, right side up. When you're doing this with the paint inlays, it has to be image down. And you'll know it by seeing the little grid dots up, right? They should be facing you all the time, Joni. Jane. And I'm like, I say to myself, Jane, are the dots facing up? Because if they're not, it's not going to work. Of course, I can't find my perfect, oh, maybe this was it. So again, I've got my design facing down. No, that wasn't it. Well, we'll just have to use this from this big piece here. I'm going to put I'll put these in water. So I move the design, again, with the grid lines up, around, right, on the top. I think I like this. Just like that, with the flowers right in the middle. You can also turn, see how you like it this way. And I also really like these leaves. I actually like that a lot. And what I do, see how I'm using my finger to go around the paint inlay, right? I'm kind of burnishing it. Now, you could do it this way and cut it out, right, along those lines, which I'm going to do kind of roughly, or you don't have to cut it out at all. You just put your second coat on and line this up. I find cutting it out helps me to line it up just the way that I want it. Even if it's just one line like this, so I can line up the back. And it's a little bit curved, that's okay. You don't have to be exact. All right. Now, we put our second coat of paint on. This is the coat that the inlay is going to go into. So I'm grabbing my brush out of the water. Give it a little blot. And be generous with this coat. You don't have to be crazy generous, but you want a good amount of paint because it activates the paint that's in the inlay. I've done this with Amy Howard at Home. This is the one-step paint. Again, it's a paint that has a built-in top coat, a chalk paint, and I've done it with milk paint and traditional chalk paint. Okay, here we go. So I'm looking at it. The grid lines are up, and I usually stand up when I'm doing this, but I'm just gonna plop this down, right? You have a few seconds, that's about it, to move it around. And I'm smoothing it. Normally, I have a little brayer that I would use to smooth this out. I don't have it now. So, I'm just smoothing it with my fingers, like this. and you want really good contact. Then I'm going to use a wet cloth. I forgot my, I hope it's going to be beautiful, Joni. We'll see if it works. I do love this deep, deep gray with this, the color of the Grisal. Again, normally I would have my mister bottle, and if you go over to my YouTube channel at Surface Anthology, you'll see me. I would mist this and then pat it. I don't have my misting bottle, so I'm just going to take mine. This is linen, and I'm just going to blot and pat this down. I missed this corner. And you just want to press it in. You want to get really, really good contact. And that's why the brayer is really good, because it just smooths out and presses the paint inlay into your coat of paint. Now, all this is, all the paint inlays are, is it's like a silk screened design of a water-based paint that's water activated. You can use these just using, if you wanted to put one down on on regular wood, raw wood, you can put down a coat of matte clear sealer and put your paint inlay into that. They're really versatile, they're really wonderful, but I know a lot of you are a little intimidated by them. All right, Joni, I'm gonna try drying this. There's a lot of paint right here. So I'm pressing down. I'll try drying it with my blow dryer, and then we'll try a corner. If it doesn't work, we'll finish this tomorrow, you guys. Let's see. And when I'm doing this, you know, not this way, not pushing it, I'll leave it for an hour and I'll come by and touch it. And if it feels cool to the touch, it's still wet. So you really want to get it dry. Joni saying eat that scares me. It is a little scary, but if it doesn't work, if I were to totally mess up this top, I would pull it off. Hey, Mary Lou. Oh, thank you. If this doesn't work and I pull it off and it's a disaster, I let the whole mess dry, go over it for 2 seconds with some sanding paper, right? And try it again, but wait an hour for it to dry. All right, let's see how it works. I'm going to wet this corner. And again, if the corner doesn't work, we'll just wait till, we'll finish it tomorrow. So I'm gonna use a sponge with some water, because again, I don't have my mister bottle. And I'm just gonna wet a corner. And let's see if it transfers. And you wait 30 seconds for that water to kind of permeate. It already is a big difference, right? Even though look how much I missed there. But the paint changes everything. All right, let's see. I'm gonna pull this back. And look at that, it did. It started to look at that. So what I'm gonna do is wet the whole thing and we'll see how it looks. Just a corner, Joni says. It's going to be a little bit rustic, I think, because I didn't use my brayer. But let's see. We could call this show, Joni, Monday Morning Madness. Okay. So you wait 30 seconds. I really do love this transfer with this color, though, I'll tell you that. All right. 30 seconds. And let's see. Get that corner again. Look, it worked. Yay, says Joni. All right, and I love, love, love. Okay, here's the transfer. Remember, everybody, save these because you can reuse them. So I let them dry flat. Now, because I didn't use the brayer, right? So I really didn't kind of smooth that down. I got these like little, where the brush strokes were, I guess you could say. But I love that. I love how that looks. Isn't it? Hey, Julie, doesn't it look beautiful? This is, I think it's, well, I can't say it's my favorite transfer or inlay. I keep saying transfer, but it's one of my favorites because every color I put it on, it's just stunning. But look at that, right? So here's our little jewelry box that I'm probably just gonna put these right back on and leave them gold because I like this with this whole look, right? But we took that little kind of modest jewelry box and it makes it into something very luxe, very fancy, right, Joni? And it will look beautiful. This will look beautiful on your dresser or, you know, your bathroom vanity. And you could put your rings in there and you've got that beautiful design. Oh, Joni, thank you. Joni also turned me on to this. Along with being funny, she's a creative genius. When you have an area like this, right, where the inlay didn't go all the way in, and this is really important too, Joni, for when you're putting it together, if you're putting, you know, an edge of an inlay and you get a line, all you have to do, and Joni, you just take an artist brush. I'm not going to use mine because it's not tiny enough, but you would take an artist brush, dip it in some water before you seal your inlay, and you can blend. Maybe I will try it. Let's see, just a little corner and see how it works. But you can blend this paint. Oh, and it does work. So what's happening is it's reactivating the paint inlay. You see right there. I would use a much smaller brush than this, like a pointed brush, and you can actually go in. Joni, thank you so much for this tip because I didn't think of that at all. But you could go in and blend those areas. If it's too much, if it's too distressed for you, that is such a good tip. Oh, Shannon's running out to the thrift store. Shannon, get going. You have to see me. I made my son Christopher nuts. He's the only one that has patience to go to Goodwill with me, or, you know, one of my crazy, you know, we see a tag sale, we have to pull over. But I'm like, oh my God, look at those jewelry boxes. We have to get them. Oh, and Barb is saying, I'm going to have to try the inlays on a small project. Right, because they intimidate you. Barb, if you do this on something tiny like this, it doesn't mean you're not going to use this little piece. This is going to, you know, what a pleasure to put your rings or your earrings, or maybe you have it on your desk and you have thumbtacks or paper clips. Look at how pretty that is, right? And if you wanted to, you could put the inlays on the front, over here on the sides, and it just makes it really, really beautiful. So Barb, I sell these inlays. So this is the Grisal inlay. And you guys all know me as Surface Anthology, but I also have, my shop is called Chalk Mercantile. So chalkmercantile.com is where you can get inlays. If I don't have the one that you want, Barb, Joni sells them also, but we're both Iron Orchid stockists. And one inlay has 8 pages. So if you get, let me show you, the Grisal, you get 8 pages. These are also beautiful for gifts, honestly. But you have to, giving people handmade or upcycled gifts, you have to give them to the right person, right, who appreciates this. But I just think that's lovely. I've even seen people take, like they make a table runner. You could put these on canvas. Joni, I think you've done that. You could put them on a piece of canvas or a piece of drop cloth, or just a really long piece of wood, right? A really shallow piece of wood that you paint and put your Grisal inlay down. Imagine that going down the middle of a dining room table. Beautiful. Joni, thanks so much. Mary Lou says she can't wait to try the inlays. You broke your wrist? Ah, ouch. Mary Lou, that's a fear of mine. I know we have Barb with her neck, right? It's things that, parts of our body that we use so much, like our hands, our feet, right? Turning. It's like, when you injure that, I hope you are able to use your wrist again soon. Are you in a cast, Mary Lou? And is it your dominant hand? Oh my goodness. That is my fear. When I got these glasses, they're, what are they called? Transitional, right? I have my reading part down at the bottom and my other part up at the top. Going downstairs I've gotten really nervous because I'm always looking through the bottom of my glasses. And I said to my husband, we better insure my hands and my wrists. Oh my goodness. Mary Lou, I wish you a very, very speedy recovery. Oh, and Joni saying, I fell down my stairs and you panicked. Joni, are you okay? Because you worried about your hands, right? And your wrists. Honestly, that's scary. If I had to break something, I think I'd rather break a foot than my hands. Because I do needlework all the time. I'm always doing something, and I know Joni is too. You guys, thank you for joining me today for Monday Madness, right? Take a little piece and make it really grand. That's the word I'm looking for. You take this little humble little jewelry box, and this little paint inlay makes it really luxe, right? Really fancy. Oh, Joni, I hope you're okay. I do. But yeah, we've got to protect these body parts. Everybody give this a shot. See what you think, right? I know I sold out of a kit that I had that had small, just a project. You didn't have to buy an entire booklet of inlays. So I'm going to post another one. I just have to get the base. Oh, Mary Lou is saying, yes, she's in a cast, a pink one. Wow, and she has to have surgery. Mary Lou, I wish you a very, very speedy recovery for that. I love that you have a pink cast too. Have everybody, I'd love to see a picture of that. Have everybody, remember in school when we were kids, if somebody broke something, everybody would sign their cast or draw something beautiful on it. Thanks you guys for joining me. Joni, thanks for joining me and giving us your hints, especially the one about using the artist brush and blending. I really appreciate that. Any questions at all, please ask in the comments. You could check out my shop, and thank you, Joni, for putting it in there. I don't say it enough. Chalkmercantile.com. For everything else, it's surfaceanthology.com. Everybody have a wonderful Wednesday, and be sure to show us what you make. Post it in the Painted Cottage Facebook group because we want to say, all right, everybody, I'll see you.